All right, we are here. I just want to get off my chest real quick. That fucking car alarm in Copenhagen. What the fuck?
The whole fucking match. It was unreal.
The whole match. Bro, if I was there, I probably would have found out where it was in the stadium, completely disregarded the game, found out where it was in the stadium, took it, and smashed it.
New mission. If you're in that stadium, fuck the game. You're gonna go find whoever asshole brought that in and had that shit going off the entire game. And like you said, smash that shit.
Smash. Fucking stupid.
Hulk
but
smash.
In any event, welcome to the Snobby Boys!
You are now tuned into the Snobby Boy podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy podcast. I am always your host, Colby. That is my dude, Joe, on the mic. He's here to wrap it out. We're going to be doing quite an episode. We have a couple of guests that will be coming on with us to be talking about the Chelsea matchup this past weekend. But before we do that, make sure that you
do that. What that video just said. Do that.
Yes. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. Also, make sure you hit us up on our social medias at SnobbyPod. Make sure you hit the comments. That'd be awesome. So as I said, we're going to be having a couple of guests on tonight. One of which is Joe's counterpart on another podcast he has, Blue v Blue. He is Zac Westrick, and we also have my old buddy from right when I started in the podcast game. He comes from England. His name is Jack Waters. He'll be here with us this evening as well. They are both Chelsea supporters, so please feel free to light up the comment section if you'd like.
In whatever way you feel necessary. If you want to be nice, that's great. If you feel like throwing a roast in there from time to time, that's okay too. We are open to all of it.
Totally.
Please do.
Totally. So the Copenhagen result was, we'll take it.
About what we expected.
Not what we wanted. I mean, that should have been like a 5-6 to
put the tie to bed in the first match and go home and have an easy one. 2-goal lead is still nice. Going back to the Etihad, obviously that's a fortress for us. But having a 4 or 5 spot would have been really nice instead of just a 3. But it is what it is. That shit happens in footy.
And AMS would it be? So we're gonna get into the Copenhagen match first before we bring on our guests. But before we do that, we just want to make sure that you still know about our t-shirt giveaway. So we're going to do our little promo ad from AI Jack. Give it a listen.
Yeah, old Jack here. Wanted to tell you what to check out the Snobby Boys limited edition anti-Jono carbon merch and ship edition t-shirt. For details on how to get one of your own, visit their website at snobbyboyspodcast.my.canva.site/podcast and get yours today. Forget to follow them on Instagram for a chance to win a shirt. Cheers, mates.
Right on.
Join
the fleet. I also want to kind of keep people on a little bit of a cliffhanger right from the beginning. We will be dropping 2 more shirts. One is just a remake of our Anti-Journo General Club shirt. But we have a special one dropping. If you've been watching us throughout the week, I posted something on Instagram, and it got a little bit of traction. So I figured, why the hell not? So if you know what it is, I'm not going to say it. You'll just have to find out tomorrow. But if you know what it is, it's coming. And it'll be done in a much better way. But I digress. So let's take a look at Mon Joe's predicted starting 11 versus Copenhagen. Ederson, Ake, Stones, Diaz, Walker, Rodri, Foden, Alvarez, De Bruyne, Silva, Haaland. That felt like it was the right move.
It felt good.
Especially with the presser that morning. I felt really good. So let's take a look at what actually happened. Ederson, Walker, Stones, Diaz, Ake, Rodri, Silva, De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish over Doku and Haaland.
That was pretty solid on our part, I would say.
Yeah. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been about 2-3 shy on the mark. I'll take 1 for a miss any day of the week.
10 out of 11 is a solid prediction right there. I'll take that for
10,
sure.
Right. So let's get into the match. First and foremost, I mean, it was kind of up until 10 minutes. Diaz kicks ones out of the back all the way to Foden, who then flicks it into KDB for a mint goal.
Ooh. Placement on that one was absolutely
it was
brilliant.
And I like seeing that in our play. I just don't like seeing it so often, and I feel like there's been a bit of a trend of us kicking it out of the back a lot. And I honestly would like to see that happen, but that was like picture perfect how that could have went down. Awesome fucking goal.
Yeah, that combination of Phil and Kevin was devastating for Copenhagen all night. Those two were picking up the ball in different areas all game and finding each other. And that little run where Phil was picking it up on the right wing and Kevin was making that little diagonal behind the right back and Phil was just slotting it in, that was combined for 2 of our 3 goals. And Kevin had mentioned that when he picked the ball up, he was looking for Haaland originally, and then he said he saw the processing ability of that dude. All of this happened within like milliseconds, where he was looking for Haaland, noticed he wasn't there, and decided to like, I'll just slot it in the side netting on the far post perfectly.
Yeah,
who does that shit? Like that is unbelievable. Only Kevin to be able to process all that information in milliseconds and then be able to actually execute that afterwards was just mint.
It's
beautiful goal.
You know, and there's been a lot of comments throughout all the Man City comment boards about the way everything's going right now. Not Kevin specifically, obviously, but I just want to touch on this real quick. It's the comment section. There's so many people that have like McDonald's must have ruined their life because they expect everything to happen just on the snap, and it just doesn't work like that all the time. Nope. Yeah, like players don't show up on certain days, and it's not because of nothing. There's always something. We'll get into that a little bit later with one of our players who's been having a bit of a downtime. Moving forward, let's just say that Copenhagen was a little chippy. They knew we were the big dogs coming in their house. They were going to do anything possible to fuck it up. And they did so with Jack early on. Jack went down. As it stands right now, from what Pep has put out, he's only going to be out for 10 days. So that's fucking good news.
It didn't look good. It did not look good when it happened because there wasn't a lot of contact, and it looked like he had stretched something in his groin. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that's a lengthier spell on the sideline. And you could tell how frustrated and upset Jack was at the time.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't getting a lot of run recently. It had mostly been substitutions and cameos. But this time he was getting a start in a big Champions League game again. And you could tell how much being in the game meant to him. He was playing really well the first 10 minutes, and then to go out that quick and have another spell, even if it's only for 10 days, it was clearly disappointing for him too, because there wasn't a whole lot of contact from the Copenhagen player, but it was just at the right time where it just stretched out his inner thigh muscle. So
yeah,
I feel bad for Jack. I feel bad for him.
So do I. I mean, you saw him when he got up. I mean, he grabbed the inside of his, I think it was his right quad. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever had that injury, but it's not fun.
It's unpleasant.
It's probably and it's weeks of walking around looking like a dummy. Could have said so many words there, and I tried to. So Daku comes in to replace him. I would say probably about 7 or 8 minutes later. One of the things that I want to do right now is toot the Doku horn, because a lot of people, and this is going back to what I was just saying, there's a lot of people in the comment sections that have been ruthless about Daku. People saying that they want him traded already, this, that, and the other. I'm like, bruh, we do this every year. We bring somebody new in, right? You have to give them a year, right? Matheus Nunes, Kovacic, Daku is no different. We need to give players a little bit more slack, because to go down on him so goddamn hard when he has the most completed dribbles in the Champions League, he's created so many chances for us over the season since we've got him, and then to oust him like that, like, what is your basis?
We've had this conversation before too, so
it is
with other players, and it's the same thing.
It's so it's
he was on fire. Like, he was everybody's darling. He was everybody's darling those first few matches that he played, when he was, providing assists and scoring goals. The moment that he's not contributing like that again, we want to dog on him like that. It's unnecessary and ridiculous, because the kid is young. He is so talented, and once they all continue to get matches together, because that lineup that he's been playing with, when he was playing, he hasn't played much with Holland or Kevin, and those are two of our most important players to get reps with, and he hasn't played with either of them hardly at all. So it's going to be a learning curve for him and the rest of them to figure out how they all like to play on the pitch together at the same time.
Right. And I mean, Daku, he does have chemistry with Kev prior to coming into the squad for Belgium, which is great, but we're talking about two different styles of play here. We're talking about international play with a coach that does things one way, and club level where coach things does another way. So, I mean, you have to give him the time to get his bearings straight. He's done enough. He's done enough. He does not deserve the treatment that he's getting by any stretch of the imagination.
We love you over here at Snobby Boys. Dokes, if you're ever listening, we love you, my man. And we can't wait to see what's going on with you later on as you grow into your city role. So,
hell, man. You know what? And even walking into the season when we signed him, I was kind of like, I know that he has a chemistry with Kev, but like, is he really going to fit into our system? Is he a little too speedy? Is he? Sometimes he kind of is. But all in the same, it's you got to get the McDonald's out of your mouth. All these people, he's Ruth Chris. He's Ruth Chris. You treat him that way. Okay, you let a steak rest. You eat the shit out of a fucking burger quickly.
Great analogy.
I was doing my best there. I was doing my best there.
That's a great one. I had to wear this jersey tonight because Eddie had a lot of he had a lot to do in both of these games. He was very impactful in good ways and not so good ways, which was the next item on our list, was when he gave the ball away right to a Copenhagen player, and they punished us.
Dude,
he has these moments. Okay, this is how City plays. They're gonna play from the back. They want Ederson involved. When you play from the back as often as City does with their keeper, these things are gonna happen. So what we're not gonna do is blast Eddie for it. One, sometimes you got to put the foot to the ball. He knows that. He knew immediately he screwed up. But if you go back and look at it, Diaz was blocking which is no fault of Diaz. He was that just happened that as soon as Eddie played the ball, Diaz was blocking the pass, so he couldn't even see the Copenhagen player. So when he played the ball, there was nobody in white in his line of sight. And then as soon as he hit it, the guy stepped out from behind Diaz. And sometimes you just got to credit the other team. That guy made a nice play on the ball, and shit happens, but it's definitely frustrating when those things happen.
At the end of the day, though, you're GK1.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You had 3 men in the box coming after you, bro. Like you gotta make a faster move.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't backyard ball, buddy. You get paid for this shit. You can't do that again. We can't have that sloppy play from GKs, and I've seen it a lot, not just with Ederson. There's been several of other goalkeepers around the Premier League that have just been real sloppy for like what? Like I get you're probably bored back there, but then like when you get the ball in front of you, like be on it. That's what you get fucking paid for. Sorry, I'm being a little critical tonight. It might be the extra dry champagne.
The full glass that you've just about had already. So
full glass of Mason. That's right. Listen, it was everything just to keep myself down for the second half of this show. So
absolutely. And then before halftime, another magical moment from Kevin, who is impactful in all 3 of our goals, finding just the determination and the sheer will to get that ball and win it. I heard on the commentary because I was rewatching the game, the CBS guys were saying that there were some fortuitous bounces that happened for Silva to get there. No, Kevin made that shit happen and worked hard and got the ball and won it. And then again, another absolutely mint goal from the outside of the boot, from the right side, from Bernardo, hitting it into the goal, side netting again. Oh, that was unreal goal from Bernie. So great way to end the half, to go in with the lead. So that was definitely clutch.
For sure. Walking in the second half, it was tale of 2 games, really. I just want to start the second half off with this. What the fuck is wrong with Haaland?
I think that's a question that everybody was wondering after both games this week, where he was far from his clinical best.
Yeah,
so many missed chances, usual ones that he would typically bury, and a lot of them were headers.
Last year
against Chelsea, exactly. Against Chelsea again, and against Copenhagen, there were so many opportunities that he fluffed, unfortunately, and comes to light recently from Pep, and confirmed from Pep in one of his pressers after the champion or the Chelsea game, that that Erling has lost his grandmother. She passed away on the 10th of February. So that was not something that I was aware of until I think this morning when I was researching some stuff and looking over things. So if you're a citizen, let's, again, keyword we've been saying recently, grace with our players because they are humans. That's probably playing a role in why he hasn't been at his clinical best, because again, they're people. They have lives outside of footy, and that spills onto the pitch sometimes. So,
oops. The more you know.
Exactly. So
the more you know.
that is more than likely 99.9% sure why he's been not at his best clinically finishing. He has been in the right position numerous times. He's still doing the work off the ball to get into those spaces. It's just he hasn't been able to finish the last 2 games, and the carryover from Copenhagen was real for the Chelsea game. So we all saw that, and we'll talk about that with Jack and Zach here in a few minutes. So
yeah,
a lot of possession in the second half too. A lot of possession, a lot of shots. The keeper, their keeper, had a really good game in the first half and second half. He had some really nice stops, but unfortunately, we couldn't finish them until the very end of the match, with Kevin and Phil once again combining on that right side. This time, it was Kevin playing it back across the middle, and Phil, great composure, slots it home to give us the 3-1 victory, which was great. That was again, we've mentioned earlier, that combination of Phil and Kevin on that right side was deadly against Copenhagen.
Agreed. One of the things that I've noticed, and this is something that will transpire into the next match, is that Julian Alvarez, the boy has no gas in his tank right now. He's doing as much as he can with what little he's got left in there right now. Homie needs a break. He needs a breather. I think that in both matches, his performance was, with no other words other than to say there was a lot left to be desired considering what he's produced this year. But let's not forget, dude's not started, or he started every match but maybe 2 or 3 this season. And I'm pretty sure I keep griping on that or harping on that over the last couple episodes. I feel like what we need to start thinking about is what is the best alternative for Julian Alvarez while he is not in the best of form. Do we give Nunes more minutes? Should we have in this past match? Kova was out for Copenhagen, so we didn't even have him as an option. There needs to be a little bit of reworking going into March, I think, with what Pep's doing, considering injuries. Yasko's been out. So it's like...
And he'll be out for another 2 or 3 weeks, I think. So
yeah. So I mean, it's there's a lot of pieces that we have been using up until this point since Kev's come back that are starting to deteriorate, starting to go away, and we kind of need them to bring themselves back. So there needs to be some sort of, there's got to be some better rotation. Again, lots of possession and shots. Our keeper had a pretty decent match. 74th challenge on Silva was naughty as fuck.
Yeah, and that one was one we thought he might be missing some time. They initially, after the match, thought he was going to miss an not extended, but he was going to miss some time. But he came back and was able to play in the Chelsea game. But that was a reckless ass challenge that could have been a red, I thought, but
could have been.
Maybe should have been, but
maybe it should have been.
Hey, we're not the referees, unfortunately. So,
but
yeah, that was not their first one. Like you said, they were very physical all game and borderline on the naughty side for sure. That one in particular, I thought was not a very nice challenge.
No. Yeah, and then to round it out, Bill cracks it at the 92nd minute just to send it in, make sure we sealed that deal. Overall, I think that was a match that we, like I said earlier, I think we wanted more out of the match in terms of goals. What was produced on this day suffices. Walking back into the Etihad against them, was it next month? I feel confident that we're going to blow it away the next time and move on, obviously. But yeah, so that is our recap of the Copenhagen
return to Champions League football.
Return to Champions League football. And we will be returning. No, I'm sorry. We won't be. We won't be. This is a makeup match against Brentford next week, but we'll talk about that later. In the meantime, we're going to leave you with a little intermission. We're going to do a little costume change, and then we're going to bring our guests on. Does that sound good?
Get excited, y'all. We got some awesome people. Yeah, look at that.
Awesome.
Look at the fireworks.
Totally. All right, let me find the video. Oh, there it is. And welcome back. I totally didn't change my shirt like I was going to.
That video was not as long as you might have expected, and changing the overlays takes a little bit of time.
All right, guys, I want to welcome you all, our guests from across the pond. Oh, that one there. That's Jack Waters, good homie of mine, Chelsea supporter. As you can see, it looks like he's in bed. It is like way past your bedtime, isn't it?
12:40 right now.
Sorry, mate.
It's all good. It's all worth it.
You doing all right?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you? You okay?
Not too bad, man. And not to forget our other Chelsea guest, whom is the other co-host of Blue v Blue podcast, Zac Westrick. Thank you for joining us, fellas.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So, guys, I'm going to start this off. I got a question for you guys. Okay. Why should Manchester United have signed Mudryk instead of Onana?
Ooh. All right. We'll just get started with it. Well, I tell you, their attack has been a little bit lackluster, and Højlund, the generic great value version of Holland, although he did play well.
He's the Temu version. He's the Temu version.
Lads, he's coming. He's cooking.
He's left a lot to be desired.
Jack, do you have an answer?
Højlund's cooking. No.
All right. So
no.
Correct answers only. Clean sheets would have been guaranteed every game.
Are you saying that clean sheets for the opposite team? All right. Fair play. I'll tell you this though.
Listen, you can get me when I come on y'all show. You can get me then.
The Mudryk slander is a little rough though. I think there's an unfair bias against him.
Probably, but it was a good joking point considering that he hasn't really seen the pitch in a while. I feel like
it's fair.
Anyways,
yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
All right, so first I'm going to start this off like we did with the last part of our episode. Me and Joe always compile a predicted every week. This was our predicted against you guys. Ederson, Ake, Diaz, Stones, Walker, Rodri, Doku, Alvarez, De Bruyne, Foden, and Haaland.
One mistake, right?
Yeah.
Only switch up was Stones was out and Akanji started instead of Johnny. So another 10 out of 11 out of our predicted starting 11s for this week. That's a good week right there. Missing one each game.
We talked about that, Joe. We didn't think Akanji would come in because I was asking the same question, who you guys thought would line up, and I didn't. I had Stones in there as well. So
I was very surprised to see Akanji in there because we've had this discussion before about him playing that same role. Because when Pep puts him in there, it's a like-for-like replacement for John when he's a center back but gets pushed up into the midfield. And me and Colby have talked on our show about how that is not Akanji's strong suit. So, and we saw a lot of that this past Saturday.
Bro has no ball skills. For a professional baller, he has zero ball skills. It's if you're going to put him in that role against another team in John Stone's role next to Rodri, like there's an expectation that comes along with playing that pivot role, and you don't fulfill it at all, buddy. At all.
Got to play to his strengths, which are being a center back and not a midfielder.
Right. So, guys,
were you happy? You said you were happy to see that, Jack.
I was very happy to see Akanji instead of John Stones. Of course,
I'll bet. Good news for you guys when we saw the team sheet.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it
for sure.
Did you guys like your starting 11 for Chelsea?
Yeah,
when you saw
let's talk about y'all's starting 11.
No,
didn't like it.
That look on Zach's face was extra. Say it again.
No. We'll just it was easier. Although I was more disappointed, and we can get into this later. I was more disappointed with Poch's substitutes than I was the lineup, and that's neither here nor there. I didn't think Sterling deserved to start, although he ended up proving me wrong.
Right.
But that's just me. I was definitely happy to see the back partnership of Colwell and Safi.
Yep. They were both strong all game. That was nice to see. And me and you have talked about, and I'm curious to hear Jack's thoughts too, because Zach and I have talked a bit about how it's probably time for Thiago Silva to have a reduced role in the squad.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you think? Did you like the center back pairing, and do you think going forward it should be more of the younger guys and let Thiago kind of get spot minutes?
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say this, because Thiago Silva is a Chelsea legend, and he's only been there for 4 years now, 4 years,
Yeah.
and we class him as a legend at the club for everything he does for the youngsters, everything, like his wife as well. Like, we just love the whole family. Like, the whole family is just amazing. So yeah, I do. It pains me to say, but yeah, I do believe that Disasi, Colwell, and the other lads, the younger lads, should completely take over the centre back partnership. So
I wrote it down on my notes, and like Jack said, like, it pained me to write this down, but I literally wrote Silva cannot start again. And that's not, and that real, like, I don't like saying that, because he's truly is a legend, and I have nothing but respect for him, his whole family.
Yeah.
They are, very rare would you have a player come in and in a short time be, the true blue through and through. And he has exemplified that from minute one. So it's just that Pacha's system does not play well to what Thiago can provide.
it's from how we play. Obviously, we play from the goalkeeper. So playing into the centre back, and it takes Thiago Silva 10, 15 seconds longer to get it out to Enzo, to the left back, or play a long ball. It takes him 10, 15 seconds longer than it would for Colwell.
Granddad.
Like, it's so long. Just come on, hurry up, play the ball. Like,
he takes an extra 2 or 3 touches for sure, when it could have been a 1 touch and then move the ball along. It's take a touch and then another touch, and then by that time you have somebody pressuring you, and especially against a team like City, who are on the front foot constantly. Definitely needed somebody like Colwell and Disasi, who are going to move it a little bit quicker. So
I thought a lot was said, and I know he was injured, but the fact that they brought in Chalaba at the end when they went 3 in the back, like, even if Silva was healthy there, I don't think that they would have brought Silva in, just because of the threat that City had. And again, substitutions, we can touch on that later. That's a different thing. But Chalaba hasn't played a single minute all season. He's been injured.
I was going to say
year. That was his very first action of the season, and to come in at the 70th minute of an absolute shitstorm,
with the lead still.
He played
like,
well.
Yeah.
He played well. Got unlucky, but played very, very well. I was very pleased with Trevo.
Little off topic. I heard something this week, and it made me laugh. And this really is more of a thing directed at Jack, but it can go either way. One of the things I heard this week was, how is it that Londoners, or just British people, don't know Spanish better, but they know how to pronounce Azpilicueta perfectly? What is that?
Nah, we just called him Dave.
Dave, I told you. See, I told you.
Well played. Let's talk about the reffing.
Reffing?
Yeah. Oh, so he didn't see a problem with the reffing, did he?
Oh, here we come, the Rodri cry.
You better watch it, bub.
I'll preemptively say this. Caicedo probably benefited a lot from the open, less whistles. Other than Caicedo, though, I thought it was a pretty even, call
in terms of fouls and everything.
Mm-hmm. It was better than Mr. Taylor.
Oh my God! Thank God he wasn't reffing the game. Jesus Christ, that would have been a shit show.
What a cunt!
I was about to.
Let's just call him like it is. Unreal.
Like I really want to go to any stadium he is reffing at and literally try my best the whole game to spit on the top of his head. I feel like it's a good target.
Have you lads ever seen that photo of Thiago Silva going like this to Taylor?
No, and now I want to find it.
Honestly, one of the best photos ever.
These refs suck. Period. These refs this year, the refs last year, they suck. They need retrained or something. Or VAR just needs to do its fucking job. They could totally, call up the NFL and say, hey, how do you do your instant replays? What's the challenge system? How do you figure all this out?
So,
okay.
Anyway.
So, let's talk. Why is the refereeing so bad? Please.
Why is it so bad?
No. This, in this game, in
this game. Okay.
We know the referees are shit in the whole league, but in
Absolutely.
this game, please enlighten me,
bruv. You cannot tell me that through this match that on both sides wasn't just ours. On both sides, this ref just acted like nothing fucking happened the whole time.
That was going to be my
not in control.
Would you rather it be whistle happy with a ton of stoppages or complete just let them play? Like we saw.
You know what? I'm always a fan of letting them play through one half and typically the second half. Blow away in the first half. Give people a fucking reason to be scared, especially if they're on a yellow. I don't know. I'm chaotic like that, but at the end of the match, man, that's when that's where you lay all that shit out. This is where winners and losers are made, right in that half. Let them fucking play. Let them play. Am I complaining about the refs not giving us calls? Maybe a little bit, because there were some questionable ones like, what the fuck? Why didn't that happen? And we'll get into a little bit more detail on that in a minute. But on the whole, just the reffing, it wasn't. It just. I don't know, man. It was bad. It was just bad, in my opinion. It could have been better for both sides of the ball. It wasn't just ours, and that's why I made this even a point of topic, because I was like, they have to see what we're fucking seeing, and this isn't just like catering to one side.
I don't know.
I didn't really see it as a huge issue. I am of the variety of leave the whistle on your wrist. Call it organized chaos, call it whatever you want, but I would much rather them let them play, barring any jarring, obvious, hard fouls. Let them play. Let the best players just go out, balls to the wall, and just let's see what comes out on the end. And I honestly, I kind of applauded him for it because that takes guts in a match with two top 6 clubs that, you know, are fighting for something.
Yeah.
Two completely different types of things. We'll just make that abundantly
fighting
clear.
nonetheless.
And I wasn't too upset with it. Like I said, I think Caicedo definitely benefited from that because he had a few dicey tackles early that could have put him in some trouble early.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't really see any issue with it. And I don't know if this is going to be the point of topic later, but if you're going to sit here and tell me that was a handball at the end, we're gonna agree to disagree.
We will get to that. Let's save that conversation to the end because that's definitely something to talk about, and I wrote that down in my notes as well. That's that's going to be a matter of perspective for sure. But I tend to agree with Zach with the openness of play. I wrote in my notes too. I thought Caicedo probably is lucky to still be on the pitch. I thought in the second half, around the 75th, I think there was a challenge that I thought he should have been off for, but it was just a regular old foul. But why don't we jump into a couple of the things that we have on our notes here? I thought from the jump, surprisingly, because we've talked about Nico before, you and I have Zach. I'm going to mix that up all night because of the damn rhyme scheme between you two.
It's the axe.
Nico, yes, exactly. Nico and Raheem were exploiting in Malo Gusto, who had a very, very good game. I thought we were going to win the matchup between Doku and Gusto, and it was the other way around. Dokes had trouble with Malo all fucking game, and they were exploiting the space in behind City's high line, and were playing balls in behind constantly in the first half at least. Second half's a little different just because of style of play for game management at the time, but Raheem and Nico were in behind us all first half, and it was causing us issues. So that was one of my first talking points that I had was, well, Zach, you didn't like Raheem starting at first, but like you said, it kind of proved you wrong a little bit. And I was very impressed with one, the strategy behind playing long balls in from the wings behind the center backs who were playing very high. And I gave Raz a lot of shit when we talked, Zach, personally after the first game and on our snobby podcast, but kudos to him for not causing a stink when he scored and did the whole not going to celebrate in front of my home crowd. So tip your cap to Raz. I appreciated that for sure. But how did you guys like the attacking style from Chelsea in the first half?
Jack, you can go ahead, man.
I personally wanted Sterling to start. Just against City, especially with the first game, like he was unbelievable in that game. So I just felt like he deserved to start. But with Nico and Raz exploiting your defense and your in behind was quality. They were knocking on the door constantly, making chances. Should have been more than one up going into halftime.
If Nico could have buried that first early one, but Ederson came out and had a nice play, but Nico, he was getting a lot of shtick from the commentators too about not making the right run at the right time and his feet getting tangled up underneath himself and not being able to like get that together. So
I just think it's the pass from Gusto was slightly off.
Yeah, I was a little behind him.
Just.
I think that the pass is probably a little off one way or the other. I just think that, and this also has to do with the fact that Jackson just doesn't have a whole lot of, first team minutes for anybody in his career. That comes with polishing and that comes with time. I think a seasoned 9 or a seasoned forward probably finishes that ball. Although I think Sterling probably should have had 2 goals. He put one straight into Ederson. Now Ederson made a fantastic save, But my issue with the attacking lineup was more positioning. And we've talked about this at nauseum, Joe, but Cole Palmer needs to play in the middle. And whether you put him as the 9, whether you put him as the 10, he needed to play in the middle to facilitate those balls that help penetrate. Now, Raz definitely earned that in against City, and kudos to what Jack said, because he played exceptionally well in the first match against City. So you got to add that into it. I think we proved now that Nico Jackson doesn't belong as a 9. His best base is there on the left wing. It gives him the freedom, to the creativity and the space to make those darting runs that he's actually really good at. He's got to work on his timing, but he does that very, very well. I really think that Chelsea have an issue with how they're going to line up, and I think that's Potter's problem with Nkunku, because I would have preferred to have Nkunku start this match, but where do you put him and Palmer? Because they both are better in the center. And you can't take Gallagher out because as a one-man wrecking ball.
And he's a bet.
And he knows how to play in the Premier League at this point.
So. Yeah.
But I liked the attacking style. I liked the design. Malagusto, if it wasn't for Disasi, was by far the man of the match for me. He was brilliant, and I think that we have a real problem at Chelsea now when Reece James gets healthy, because just like I don't think Petrovic should be dropped because Sanchez is healthy, Malagusto deserves to start. And it's hard to say that when your club captain is the one coming back.
Right.
Malo has been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So do you think that Reece James fits into Pochettino's game plan? Like, do you think that because there's been a lot of rumor talks that Reece James might be leaving and he could come to us, but they always say that. So, but
Journo's going to Journo.
Journo's got a Journo, right?
The answer is yes, definitely. Reece James does fit in straight away. There's always potential. I'm not the biggest Ben Chilwell fan, unfortunately. I love him, but then he frustrates me a lot. Yes, so in the game against City, though, he was back to his best or near best. But I would love to have James and Gusto in the same starting 11.
Who would you move to the left then?
Gusto.
Ooh. Oh man, I don't know how that's like. That 2 right-footed wingbacks is tough. I think the only way you get away with that is if, and this actually is something that Joe and I talked about, is if you move to a back 5. I personally think if you want to prolong Reece James' career, he needs to move to that right-sided center back position in a back 3. The man's hammies just can't survive those bombing runs down the wings. And unless they get some sort of, platelet enrichment going on into his hammies, I worry about those long term. So I think that you have to put Reece James in the team. Like, you can't not play Reece James. He's one of the best right backs in the world when he's healthy. It's just it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have, but I will tell you.
Well, and especially with how young and how many players you guys have brought on just in this last year, to be able to have those options it's a great feeling, isn't it? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, I was just going to say that I don't think that there is any situation where Reece James plays for another Premier League club. if he leaves Chelsea, it'll be to Madrid or to Bayern or some other big club. I definitely could see him going to Madrid, and he's been linked there numerous times.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
So that's definitely something that Chelsea have to think about. I don't think that they have any inclination to sell him if they just named him the club captain. You don't just turn around and sell your club captain. So I'm sure Jack has his own opinions on it, but I don't see any situation where Reece leaves anytime soon.
Nah, not for a long time. And I do see him at Madrid in 5.
I'm about to say, Todd Bowley is a businessman. Do not count anything that he will do out. I love how he's wearing the Dodger shirt too.
This is not on purpose. Not on purpose.
I don't blame you. So let's roll this a little bit forward. Who were the players for this match for you guys that stood out for your squad?
Disasi, 16 clearances, by the way. Wow.
Yeah.
Gusto, that's the best game he's had in a Chelsea shirt in his short career so far. Caicedo was so much better. Yes, questionable with fouls and etc. But as soon as he got that yellow card, he turned into prime Kante.
That's some glowing praise right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly,
hot take.
That's the best game he's had in the Chelsea shirt, even though with the fouls and stuff. But you have to make them fouls, especially against you guys, just to stop
Statements.
Play. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Jose Mourinho, you have to be a cunt on the pitch.
Sometimes you gotta.
You have to have guys like that in your squad. You have to have dudes that are willing to do that kind of shit and do the dirty work for sure. And it's really nice when it's a holding midfielder like that. We had our version of that in Fernandinho for the longest time, who would always be breaking up tackles and being that nuisance to everybody else. So that player is essential to have a successful squad. Gotta have him. As much as I thought he should have been off the damn pitch, he was doing it for you guys. So
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly there. I would definitely say Disasi was man of the match for me. Gusto was a close second. And then he's continued to impress me all year. But Conor Gallagher, I hate the fact that we're almost guaranteed to sell him this summer. But the man doesn't stop. He doesn't stop, and he gives 100% intensity for 99 minutes. And the man never runs out of gas. You never see him quit. Joe, I know this may anger you a little bit, but do you know who Disasi?
I don't get angry.
Yeah. Do you know who Disasi reminded me of?
Fucking Rudiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Prime.
I can
Rudiger,
see it. I can see it.
Almost, if he gets a little bit more shithousery in him, he's got that prime Rudiger built in him. And
he's got that potential for sure.
I saw a little bit when he went crowd surfing the last match, and then he followed it up with an absolute dominant performance, because without Disasi, that match is completely different. He was absolutely brilliant. I think the midfield partnership, that double pivot is learning. And specifically, I think Enzo is learning that the closer he stays to Caicedo, the better this team plays. And when he starts drifting away and attacking more, we get exposed. And I think Poch is finally telling these guys, stick close. And that's truthfully our compactness and narrowness is what controlled that first half. We gave you the wings. We let Chilwell and Gusto on an island and said, hey, you deal with the wings. We're going to stop the middle. And, it also took a perfect storm. And I heard you guys talking about it earlier. Holland is less than clinical these past couple games.
Less than
for you.
Way less than.
Look, you guys
we get it now.
You guys have such high expectations for the man because he's just been the Terminator time and time again. Yeah. And
that is what we bought him for. It is what we bought him for. But we do have a bit of a complacency problem. We have definitely established that. Definitely. We have Ruth's Chris taste with McDonald's expectations on time. And when you're not producing and you're not giving what we think you should be giving, especially with what you've got around you and the opportunities that are being given to you, we expect a little bit more. But all in the same, should our expectations be as high as they are on all players? I don't know. Is that a jadedness from being in a specific bracket for so long, or is that just being competitive? I mean, where's the line?
I do have a genuine question for you, and I talked on our last Blue versus Blue podcast. Joe and I kind of talked about this, and I actually side with many City fans on this, and I want to talk about goalkeeping because I thought in the first half both goalkeepers were very, very shaky. Petrovic, that was probably his first real taste of like, oh shit, this is what high level ball is. But it's just Ederson, like he seemed so unconfident. Like where did his confidence go? Because when he lost the ball to Nico, I was like, it completely threw me for a loop because we're not used to that. We're used to the calm under pressure. Like we even look back at, I don't even know what year it was. It was a year or two ago where he's literally on his goal line and he just, casual pullback and then a pass, and just to follow that up with what we saw. And it's not new. It's definitely something that's been brewing these last, matches with him. It's just, it really shocks me to see such a confidence shake with him.
He goes through these spells every season where he has a run of games where he just doesn't look like himself, where we have sloppy turnovers. I wouldn't call it a run
as much as I would call it a rut of games because he gets buried in some of these situations pretty fucking bad.
Yeah,
that's attackers on him just...
Yeah, and that happens every season for him. There's a spell where he just has a tough go of it and takes a little bit of time to dig himself out and to get that back. So he's unfortunately in one of those right now, and we don't typically see it at this time of year because this is usually the time of year where City goes on a 10, 12, 13 game winning streak and extends their lead or takes over a lead in the Premier League. But he's not at his best as of right now, and I was mentioning that's why I'm wearing this one today to show him a little love because I expect him to be back to his. I expect him to be back to his usual self soon. But it's a fair point and a good question because, especially at the keeper position, confidence is the damn near most important thing that you can have as a keeper. You have to exude that confidence. And what that does is it spills out to the rest of the team when they know that they have somebody in the back that they can rely on, that they can trust, especially the way Man City plays with the keeper being so heavily involved with the build-out play. And the two games, what was crazy is in the Copenhagen game, his distribution was the thing that kind of let us down. And he didn't need to make a whole lot of stops in that one. In this game, he had a couple of absolutely brilliant saves that kept us in the game, where it could have been 2-3-0 before we were able to get on the board. So it's not ideal, but It'll get better.
Yes, it will.
I did see a stat the other day that his save percentage is one of the lowest of a first team keeper, which is not great.
Yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I just thought the other day.
That's frequently due to the fact that if he lets in one goal and is only has like 2 or 3 on frame the entire match, his percentage is obviously going to be lower than guys who are facing 8, 9, 10 shots on goal and stop 7 of them.
Speaking of shots on target, though, your boy and I'm a huge fan of his, Rodri, because he wears a fantastic number. His comment after the match kind of struck me by surprise that we didn't generate many shots on target, but I think that we had just as many, if not more, than you guys did.
Was he talking about you guys, or was he talking about us?
No, he was talking about us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys had 6, we had 5, although we had 31 total shots, which is fucking staggering. The fact that we had that many shots, but only 5 of them.
I'm curious how many of those 31 came in the last 20 minutes of that match, though.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes. That's when the majority of them were, for sure. I think Rodri is we had, especially this season, on and off the pitch, has been very emotional and passionate, more so than we've seen him recently. You could tell when he scored that goal in the second half how much that goal meant to him, and he got us into some trouble early on with that red card that cost him 3 games because he was getting overly emotional. And I think he was just he got a little in his feelings because he wanted to. I think they really, really wanted to use Saturday's match and the midweek against Brentford to go back top of the table, and when that didn't happen, I think they were very disappointed, and things were said after the fact that were more out of emotion than out of logic.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw your guys' lineup, I'm like, shit. Like it seemed very kill worthy. Like you were going for the guts. Like there was no resting starters. There was like you were going for it. And I even said it with our Joe and I's buddy. It was very like, okay, like they mean business. So we're gonna need to bring our A game. And thankfully all 11 players on that pitch that were wearing dark blue did it. Because and I will say this, it took a perfect storm for 70 minutes for Chelsea to still end up with only 1 point, but I'm very pleased overall with the match.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, no, I'm buzzing with the point, but I'm slightly disappointed with only 7 minutes to go to concede, especially a goal that was slight big deflection, whatever. But yeah.
I think it was still going on. I think it was still going on even without the deflection, but it definitely threw the keeper off a bit.
Yeah,
once it hit it took off in a different direction for sure. But I think it was still, I think it had enough pace on it to go in. But that was going to be my question, Jack, was going to be, are we happy with the point, or is there at least some of y'all that inside that's like, damn, we should have had 3, because that would, I think, brought you guys up to 8th in the table, and that would have been a nice leap to get you guys out of that right smack dab in the 10-11 spot, step closer to European football again. And that's not trying to be a dick. That's not me being an asshole.
Don't lie.
It was not. On my head, I was like, that might have came off like he's being an asshole. But I'm really not, because I'm thoroughly enjoying the conversation with you two very much. So
no, yes, I think overall as the Chelsea community are happy with a point. Like I said, we are disappointed. It feels like 2 points dropped with only 7 minutes to go, like I said, but it gives us confidence going into the cup final this coming weekend. Especially the last three performances. We've had 3 different performances. We've had confident, brilliant against Aston Villa. We've had patience against Palace, and we got it. And then resilience, power, and a bit of brilliance against you guys as well. So it gives us confidence going into the Liverpool game, the cup final, and it gives us confidence going into obviously the March international break and then the running. I do feel if we can keep these performances up, yes, we are inconsistent, but fingers crossed we can.
Well,
we can keep
it's
going.
funny. It's funny you actually said that word, consistency, because that's one of the questions that we've got for you guys. How do you guys feel about Chelsea's consistency? Because it seems as if Chelsea show up for big matches like they did against us, but then they flop against subpar teams. Do you think Poch has an answer for that? And do you also, this is kind of like an added question, do you think that the FA Cup is now Poch's Moby Dick? For the season, at least. Jack or Zach, whoever wants to go. Whoever got the fastest mouth.
Go on, Zach.
All right. I don't think it's necessarily a Moby Dick moment per se. I think that any European football is good. So we win this cup
for where you're at this season.
Yeah, I think any trophy really is a success. When you look at the youth of this club, earlier this year we fielded something like the 5th or 6th youngest Premier League side ever.
Yes.
So you look at the youth needing experience; they need time to gel, and that's why I really fucking hate journos, because like we talk about this all the time, how they compare Chelsea from last year and this year. They're completely different teams. They're completely different players. You cannot compare. It's apples and oranges. And you have to be patient with young kids like this because they're learning to get their feet. They're learning how to play as a team. None of these players have a combined season's worth of matches together. And that's tough. City have been playing this core for years. And
at least 3 or 4 at this point, yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that means the world of difference. And Jack said it, these last 3 matches, this is where you build. This is where you take those 3 matches and you build. This is now the floor, right? So Poch's game plan has to be, if you don't play at this level, you don't make the 11. And it has to be literally that. And it has to be a short leash, and you have to build on this. So I think that you look at the EFL Cup final, and while I think it's a useless cup, it's something that Chelsea need. I think they really need they need it for their morale. I think any European football next year is huge because it adds more game time and adds more experience for these guys. And I think the FA Cup would be a huge win if they could do it. But right now I'm focusing on the very next match. And I think that that's what the core of the team are focused on as well.
Well said. What do you think, Jack?
I completely agree. The youth comes with inconsistency. Obviously, Zach said it about Enzo and Caicedo. The last 3 games, they have been playing closer together, which helps. Seeing Thiago Silva out of the team helps. We're seeing these youth players and the players we've actually brought in this season, we're actually seeing improvements. I'm seeing improvements from Jackson. I'm seeing improvements from Gusto, Disassi, like from the first game of this season to now. And I think throughout the season, I think, oh, these players are not Chelsea worthy, or what is this? What am I watching? This, like, my club's a shambles. The last 3 games has given me sort of hope and faith, and these players are stepping up, that they are Chelsea worthy. They are the core of the future. And yeah, it's given me hope that the starting 11 that played against you, with a few players on the bench, they are going to be our players for a long, long time. And we need to just, the longer they play with each other, like Zac said, the better we'll get. And yeah.
Do you guys think that having Cole and Raz in the bag, it could have potentially, if not substantially, helped, not just in this match, but in our previous match this season where we tied? Do you think that they are feeding into Poch's ear and saying, this is what Pep does? Do this, do that, do this on the counter, do this on the attack.
I think if Poch wasn't as seasoned as he is, that could have played.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
But I don't think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Poch gives 2 shits what Cole Palmer has to say about, how Pep lines up. I think he's going to play the way he wants to play regardless.
This is how I play.
Yeah, I think that where it does help is they know how City play, so they can customize the way they play off of it. Because they both, being attacking players, they have the freedom to move the way that they want to move. I think it 100% influences and helps them in the way that they play, but I don't think it changes Poch's mind in the slightest.
I see Jack agrees.
Yeah.
A lot of that between you guys tonight. That's good. Good
I love
partnership on that side.
Bringing people together is what we do
around the beautiful game. It's a wonderful thing.
Exactly.
I gotta say, it was for me, because Zac, I love you so much, and I know how important the club is to you. To see those guys like pumping their fists and getting excited when they made like a defensive stop or had a big play was somewhat maddening for me, because it's not always there. That shit would frustrate the hell out of me as a player, like as a fan of a club, because sometimes they bring that intensity and they bring that fire, which you've mentioned is playing for the crest and playing for the badge and knowing what it means to be a Chelsea player. So like I'm like watching Colwell and Disassi and some of those guys get super excited about things. I'm like, why isn't this every fucking match? Why don't you guys bring that level of energy, effort, and play to every match and not just against us? And I'm looking at you again, Raz. Like, you were nothing all fucking season, and then you decide to turn up against us. Fuck you, bro. Still love you, but damn it. Like, I just was very
basis of my question.
Yep. It was like very frustrating. I'm like, why can't they do this for you guys all the time and have that level of intensity and fire and desire, I guess? Because Connor brings it all the time, but it doesn't seem like everybody does. And for me, knowing how important the club is to you guys, like, that would just drive me up the wall.
If you figure that out, let me know, because I don't know either.
Oh.
You really got up in that mic. You're like,
I feel like I was speaking to his soul just then. I thought I
really, man.
Pulled that out of.
I feel like I was looking down your esophagus and seeing into your soul.
we don't City don't always bring the clinical finishing all the time like we've seen, but at least I know energy wise almost always what I'm going to get out of my guys. But for I crave consistency when it comes to this kind of stuff. So the up and down nature of effort is rough. So I feel for both of you guys, because that's been a ongoing thing. But because we all hate those red fucking clubs, I hope that this is a great trend into this weekend, and you guys beat the shit out of Liverpool on the upcoming match.
Can we just?
We need you.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
You can ask any question you'd like.
And I know Joe and I have talked about this again ad nauseum, but why is it that? And I heard this almost immediately after the fucking Liverpool match. Oh, Liverpool are injured. They lost 3 today. Congratulations. Welcome to Chelsea's whole fucking season.
Right.
Like, why is it all of a sudden a big deal for them, but it's plagued us the entire year? Like,
because they're the top club. That's why. It's a woes me party.
It's because their club is red. That's why.
Well, that too. Most clubs that are red just bitch about nothing. Where's Reese? Is he in here tonight? Is he in there tonight?
It's just really I just don't understand it. It's such a huge double standard. You see it with United, you see it with Liverpool, you see it with Arsenal. Like, yeah, injuries happen. It sucks. I don't wish it upon anybody, even if they are a rival. But the next man up. You play with what you have. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, does this give Chelsea an advantage? No, motherfucker, it doesn't. Like, it's just part of the game.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
And let's be very honest that Liverpool doesn't have quite the amount of depth that really either one of our clubs could really have. I mean, you guys are so damn young that there's so much to build off. There's so much potential that you can't really take anything off the board. And then you look at us on the turn, and it's like we have a very deep squad. We have literally almost 3 teams. Liverpool has an A team. That's it. There's not much second team, B team actions coming behind that. You literally have all of your best players always out on your starting 11. Somebody's bound to get hurt. Somebody's bound to get hurt. That's just the nature of the game.
They don't have many match winners on their bench.
No, not. It's not nothing to go. They got. No. You're lucky you're in first right now. That's all it is. Sorry.
Now I had a city thing when it came to substitutions that I thought was very impactful that changed the second half. And Zach had mentioned he wanted to discuss his disagreement, I guess, shall we say, with the decisions that Poch made with the subs. But I thought when Bernie came on for Jules, that was a big shift in momentum for City, and I thought that's when the possession percentage started drastically shifting to the other way. And for me, you referenced Jules needing a break. I think this is a perfect time to give him an extended run as one of our super subs. He has been great all season for us. He's been one of our first names on our team sheet. We are so much better when Haaland's in the game. If Haaland's going to be starting, which he's going to, we are so much better with Kevin and Phil and Bernie and then either Jack or Doku than having Jules in there too. The space is just too cluttered, and we need Phil and Kevin's ability. What we were great at in Copenhagen was Phil and Kevin linking up and making little runs in behind and combining. There wasn't that against Chelsea because Alvarez was occupying a lot of that same space that was there previously in the Champions League match. When Jules is in there too, it's that there's just too much in that same area, and we need that freedom of movement underneath Haaland. And big games going forward, it has to be Bernie, Kevin, Phil, and then pick your poison with Dokes or Grealish. And Alvarez isn't an auto starter for me anymore.
I'm glad it came from your guys' mouth first, but the one thing I was actually happy about was seeing both Haaland and Alvarez start, because you said it, like they tend to occupy the same spots. Yeah. They are built very, very well. Okay, they're not built similar. Their play style is very similar from a positioning standpoint, and I think that definitely hurt you in the first half. Bringing Bernardo on was a huge act for you guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that bringing Jules and Holland on, like we've all said, it's been good to see, and I even said it last week. But just like you said, Zach, their play styles are a little bit almost too similar. Everybody, especially with the front 4 or 5 that we've been putting in our lineups, they all want to attack. They all want to crash. And obviously you can't do that, because then you're leaving space between you and your backfield. Who's really going to be there, especially if they're not, when you're expecting your mids to facilitate the top of the box. The way that Holland and Alvarez break off the line on a ball or any ball in is very similar, and I totally see where you're coming from on that. Absolutely,
it can work against lower level teams and teams that aren't as skilled and as organized as Chelsea was yesterday. But in big matches when we have to win, I think Jules has to be on the bench, and you have to have Bernie, Phil, and Kevin. And I love Jules. Chemistry. I do. Chemistry. But it's the movement in the middle of the park is so much different when Phil is in there and is able to pick up the ball. And Kevin has just been given license to play wherever. He's been out on the wing a lot lately since he's come back, and he's been playing balls in like that too from there. And it's been lovely to see that. But I with Holland like that, I think we have to have those 3, and then, like I said, rotate the other wing. But
Bernie's off-ball movement is far superior to Jules's at this point, but that's also because of how that he's a seasoned veteran. He knows how to exploit spaces way better.
That's what's made him so successful.
Yeah,
he's an out-and-out midfielder as well.
And Jules is being asked to play like in that midfield role almost, and he's more of a striker. He's not a attacking midfielder, even though he can play there. Like Jack, you're saying, he's just not he hasn't been as accustomed to picking up the ball in those spaces as the other guys are. So
he would also play well under a false 9.
Yeah,
I think he would play a lot better under a false 9. Yeah.
I think he's young, and his instinct is to crash. Like you said, Colby, like his instinct is to get in there. And I think if he learned a little bit from, a KDB or, we could go back to like what Frank Lampard so successful is he hung around that 18-yard, box and instead of crashing all the time. If Jules could learn to adapt, he could play that role a lot better. But I think that he's still young, and he's still got that crash mentality in there. So it's going to be interesting to see what Pep does, if he continues to field them both in the lineup or not.
The difference this week was very noticeable for me. As soon as I watched and got to the halftime of the Chelsea match, I was like, man, it's not working with that group up front, and we need to open up the space more, and we need somebody like Bernardo who's going to float. And the 3 of those 3 in particular know each other so well because they've been playing together for so long. Like you had alluded to with City, they are so flexible because Bernie will be on the wing, and then Phil, the next attacking move, Phil will be the one out on the wing, and 2 or 3 times next time it's Kevin who's out wide, and that it's really difficult to pick up as a defender or a holding mid where those players are and to mark somebody when they're constantly moving, and you can eventually, like as a right back or left back, you pretty much have the same winger coming at you almost the whole game. So you can kind of get a beat on what they're going to do. With those guys, when you're picking up a Bernardo Silva who moves different from Foden, who moves different from Kevin, it's very difficult to play defense against somebody different each attacking movement. So, Zach, what did you not like about Chelsea's substitution pattern?
I thought that Poch, at the 70th minute, he decided, okay, let's preserve this win. And I thought that if he wanted to, if he would have kept with his attacking mindset, then the space was there. The space never changed. It's just how hard you guys pressed. His moves almost made me question if he wanted to win it or if he was just trying to survive. I think that if he was going to put it in Cuckoo on, then it should have been for Jackson, because Cole is still the better option in the center, and Raz's movement was beautiful. And I think that you can't take the one man who scored the goal, you can't take him out. So
he took both former City players off. Do you think he did that at all to give them like a reception?
That would be really weird when you're.
I would hope not, but that's the vibe I got. I was like, why is he taking those guys off? Like at this point, that's. I was like, that just doesn't seem. Because I agree with you. I felt like it should have been somebody different instead of Cole. But I was like, he just pulled off both the City players back to back. Like, what's going on here?
I would have much rather seen him take Caicedo off, given the way that he was flying into tackles and not being reckless, because, like you said, he needed to be that guy. But you can't go one man down in the last 20 minutes. I would have much rather him moved Connor back and kept Enzo and Connor back and put Nkunku up there than take off even any of the front three. I definitely think that Chalobah helped once he made those substitutions, because you had to. It was an onslaught. It was an absolute onslaught. So it's just it screamed very. Let's survive this last 20 minutes.
Let's just hang on.
Yeah.
If he'd done that 10 minutes later, I would have understood it more.
Yep.
Doing it for the last 10 instead of the last 20. Because, like Zach, you said, like the space was still there. We could still exploit and hit you on a counter to go and make it 2-0. We still had that chance. But we just wanted to survive, and unfortunately we didn't.
Righto.
Now, for the fun part, that was a fucking penalty all goddamn day. He moved his arm forward.
Well, it was
hit the ball.
But I'm gonna go now.
Yeah. Cheers, lads. Thanks for the episode.
I will preface all that with, if you're a Chelsea fan, it's 100% not a penalty, and you're screaming that the entire time. If you're a City fan, it's 1,000% a penalty, and you're going to scream
pen.
Whether remove the clubs and remove the colors, if it's your team that doesn't get that awarded, you're screaming for a penalty the entire time. And if it's your team that has it, you're saying nope, that's nothing. But even the guy on the telecast was saying something about the ball, it just rested on his arm while ripping the fucking jersey off of our player too. So if it's not a handball, it should have been a penalty for holding.
No, that's not how that works. But I think
that's what happened, though.
I think we wouldn't hear nearly as much if you guys were up 2-1. We wouldn't hear a damn thing about this supposed penalty if the scoreline was different. So while
that's based, I'll take it.
I appreciate the fight, and while I tend to agree with most of your takes that if you were a Chelsea fan, if the rules were reversed, there is not a single time that I'm going to call that a penalty, no matter whether it's for me or against me. And that's coming from a man that played defense. It's just not. It's not for me.
It's too close.
I saw a hand go like this and the ball move. And here's the thing. Most times I 1,000% would agree with you, because to me, it's not a handball. But by the letter of the fucking law that they have put down, it has been called a penalty before. And by the letter of the law, if it touches the hand and impacts the flight path of the ball, that's what's supposed to be called. But it didn't in this situation. And that's more me being pissed off about the rule and not about the actual thing, because I've seen less be called a penalty when it comes to handballs before. So it's the inconsistency from the punk ass referees that we started off talking to you guys about. is the part that's irritating for me. So, but
we also have VAR, and it's not used the correct way ever. Ever.
It's a joke.
It's a complete fucking joke.
All that being said, I think the draw was a very fair result, all things considered. And that, as much as I wanted that to be called a penalty because I wanted to win, obviously, I think the 1-1 draw or a 2-2, if both teams would have scored a second, I think a draw was a fair result considering how things were played from both teams. So
it could have been a different way.
So
it could have been a different way.
I'll tell you this: you play that game 10 times, and you're going to get 10 different results based on finishing from both teams and everything. I'll also tell you this: if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year that there'd be a combined 10 goals scored between our two matches,
right?
we'd have been drugged both times, and it'd have been ugly. So I am. Jack said it earlier. I'm disappointed to a degree that we didn't secure 3 points, especially because that would have been a huge momentum booster. I am very happy to get a point. I say this a lot. You have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat and make a good match and secure a point against the teams that are better than you. And any way you skin it, City is a better team than Chelsea. Period.
Respect.
That's how you move up in the table.
Put some on Zach's name right now.
Always do.
All right, guys. We have hit a point in the show. This is the longest show we've had this season. Thank you guys so much for being on. One of the things that we like to do, though, before you guys go, is we do like to give the comment section about 5 minutes to throw anything in there. I do see that there are 3 people actively watching. Anything that you would like to throw in the comments, please do. I actually tried to send a thank you through YouTube. I don't know if you guys knew this last week, the 2 of you in here, but I think most of our listeners know. We got nicked from YouTube last week. Apparently, you can't fucking use video you pay for to show people what you're talking about, which is stupid. So fuck YouTube. YouTube, if you fucking hear this, if we're still on there, fuck you. No, for real though. So I tried to send a comment to everybody who was in here, and it says error occurred on YouTube. This is usually temporary. Wait a minute. I'm almost wondering if they fucking nicked me again. Like, I don't know. But nonetheless, we're going to see if anything pops up in the comments. Any other banter you guys want to have while that's going on, let it out. Let it the fuck out. Jack, you got some words?
One thing. Ooh. What do you think about the Sterling on Walker? Or Walker on Sterling, should I say?
Fast as fuck, boy!
That's what I think.
If that was John Cena going,
John Cena sauce. You know what? This is something that I've really learned recently about the UK, especially because I just found out through my ancestry that I am not as Italian as I thought, and I'm way more British than I thought. You guys fucking love WWE over there.
I don't.
Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. My bad. But no, like, it's wild. Like, there's a lot of people that I've talked to. They're like, they always post WWE shit, and I'm like, is that really that big over there? Like, I remember, like, in your house when I was a kid, that was one of the WWE segments that happened. They also they did one specifically in Britain, and I know In Your House is one of them, but there was another one. I didn't realize just how incredibly massive it was over there. I know boxing is massive. I know darts are massive. Snooker still sounds like a box of cookies. I'm just saying.
Oh, what a sport. I'd rather snooker's like go down the pub with a few mates, have a few beers, and just have a fucking chill game of snooker. But I can't say I've done that once in my life, but that's how I feel like snooker is.
It's an old person's game. I feel like these are the same type of motherfuckers that stay at home and drink bourbon and play backgammon.
Yeah, fair enough. No.
Yeah, I just thought it was entirely wild. Like I see. No, I'm sorry. That's not the same person. I keep getting this dude from Pittsburgh. He's a comedian. He's like an up and coming comedian, and he always posts WWE stuff, and it kind of like intermixes with all the rest of it that just gets thrown in there. But yeah, I just think that's wild, and I know it's completely unsoccer related, but like
sometimes you got to go off script and talk other shit. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? All right, no comments in tonight. That's cool. Appreciate it. We probably get kicked off of YouTube again. Again, fuck YouTube. If you see that, go fucking shove it up your ass. We're going to continue, though, to go on to Rumble. If you don't have Rumble, get Rumble. Rumble doesn't do all the bullshit that YouTube does to everybody. They actually let you have a show and not play this shit. Cool, we're on here right now, but if you're not seeing this all the way, check us out on Rumble. We also put it live on X. Make sure that you hit our content. I'm going to give the floor to Joe and Zach and Jack to plug themselves on the exit out. So go ahead and do so.
So we've talked before and referenced the Blue versus Blue pod, and Zach and I do that. It's all Chelsea, all City related. And it's not just the men's first team. We're going to be covering the women's game, which was huge on Friday night. Got to win there, y'all. The academy, the academies, yes. The academy doesn't get touched on too often in these club podcasts that everybody has going on. So we're diving into that. We try to have an episode out typically on Sundays as well. We usually record Sunday mornings. Right now, it's usually every 2 weeks or so. We're also on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, across the socials. You know what to do. Hit the like, comment, share it out with your friends. And it's me and Zach chatting about Chelsea and City. So it's much like this episode, but just the two of us. But soon have more guests on. So, yeah.
What he said.
So hit us up. It's good stuff over there.
Jack, plug away, bro.
Well, I'm technically from Fuller Football Podcast, which technically, it's been a long time. I love doing it. My colleague is going through life on patience.
Scouser.
So when that patience comes to the end of life, we will be back. We have spoke about it. He just needs to sort out his shit, basically. But yeah, soon to become. But hit my Instagram up, Jack_Waters, WATERS 22 on Instagram. That's my social. I just post football shit sometimes.
Sometimes.
Chelsea.
Listen.
Chelsea,
do I? If I need to go bang down Reese's door to make it happen sooner, I fucking will. I know he wanted to come on tonight. Oh, I know he wanted to come on last night. I was like, bro, are you drunk? Was he pissed last night? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
He was very happy with this result. That's what it was.
I bet he was, little shit. I do miss that guy. I do miss him. But no, I'm gonna be in his ass now to get you guys back, especially with everything I got going on now. Thank you guys for letting people know about you. Thank you guys for tuning in. tonight. That was really awesome. There's definitely a hell of a lot more people in here tonight. We really greatly appreciate you being here, taking the time to listen to all of our bullshit. With that, I think we can do one more little shirt ad in here. And being that you guys have been our first guests of 2024, I will be sending you guys one of our very own Anti-Journo Journo Club t-shirts.
Swag.
Thank you guys for supporting us tonight and coming on the show. So I'll be getting with you guys afterwards to get your sizes and all of your information to send it out to you. And just so you guys remember what that is,
check out the limited edition Anti-Journo Journo Club Merchant Ship Edition t-shirt. For details on how to get one of your own, visit our website at snobbyboyspodcast.my.canva.site/podcast and get yours today. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram for a chance to win a shirt. Cheers, mates.
Perfect.
So there's that.
Well done.
Listen, guys, the contest goes until, and I said the 28th. It's actually the 29th. Forgot it was a leap year. So the contest does go to the 29th. We will be announcing the winner of that t-shirt the following week. So I believe the 29th ends on a Thursday. So we'll be announcing it that Monday. So be sure to tune in and check out to see who the winner is. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell, because you know what that does? That notifies you to let you know that we're on at a certain time. Until then, I'm gonna leave them a little something. You ready?
I bet they're gonna love this.
Cheers, mate.
Up the chest.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Up the chest.